Welcome to this Headless Professor video about the most important email rules for my classes. We have 10 commandments for email, but I'm just going to talk about the 5 most important ones today. Email is a very useful tool. We've got to know when and how to use it. Otherwise, we end up with a failure to communicate. Now, I view email as an old tool, a 1990s style tool for communication. It has its uses, but let's not abuse it. Rule 1. Let's use the subject line. If you're submitting an assignment, a quiz, an exam, an essay, an abstract, use the appropriate word in the subject line. Now, when you are submitting one of these assignments, you can expect a 48-hour return time after the due date deadline has passed. Now, if you're not submitting one of these types of assignments, the only word that should appear in your subject line is the one word question. When I see that, I know it's from a student, and I know it requires my immediate attention. If you put the word question, you'll probably have about a 12-hour return time instead of a 48-hour return time. And if you have a question about a quiz, an exam, or an essay that is due, don't use the term of the assignment name in your subject line. Otherwise, you won't get an answer about the assignment until after the assignment deadline has passed. Use the word question, you'll get your answer, and you'll be able to submit your assignment on time. Some words that should not appear in the subject line: course, grade, project, discussion. If you have a question about the course or your grade, put the word question in the subject line. Email is not the right way to submit your term project. We do that on Google Documents if you have a term project. And email is not the way to handle the course discussion. We do that on the Learning Management System, the Canvas system discussion board. If you have any doubt about what to put in your subject line, just put the word question. Rule 2 is don't send attached files. Don't put your assignment as an attached file because it won't count. I won't even open it. Now, here's what you're supposed to do with your assignments, like your essays, quizzes, and even the exams that you submit by email. Paste those into the message area. Rule 3, don't send personal email through Canvas. Now, Canvas is good for some other things, for the discussion board, for taking exams, but don't try to send your assignments to my email or ask a question to my email through Canvas. Use Canvas for what it is good for. If you're going to send to my email, send from your private email address directly to my private email address. Rule 4, identify yourself by name and section, and do this at the very top of the message area. Don't put your identifying information in the subject line. The subject line should say question or the type of assignment being submitted. And don't put identifying information at the bottom of the message. I don't want to have to scroll down all the way to the bottom before I understand who is actually asking me a question. And of course, don't use an attached file. That won't even be opened. So if your name is John Smith, and you're in the research class that started in January, this is what the very top of your message area should look like. And if you're Heather Nguyen and you are in the 111 lifespan class that started in February, this is what the top of your message area should look like. And if you are Becky Gomez, who started in the general psych class beginning in March, this is what your top of the message area should look like. Now, Becky Gomez should do it like this and should not put Becky G, Psych 72. I might have a Becky Gonzalez and a Becky Garcia in addition to a Becky Gomez. And so, and Psych 72, all of my courses have numbers like 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, and that's just confusing. It's better to do it like this with your last name and indicate the month that your section started. Rule 5, where to send your email. I have 2 authorized email addresses. I used to have some other university affiliations that I do not now. University of Redlands, Loma Linda, Universidad Iberoamericana. But right now it's down to 2. So here's one, tlbrink@uchicago.edu and tlbrink@craftonhills.edu. Those are my only 2 academic affiliations. Don't send to my other private addresses, such as Juno. I no longer have access to some of those accounts. What I don't want you to try in terms of alternative communications is texting. That's very frustrating. We cannot get sufficient depth in that. And let's not do Zoom. If you are able to be on a computer while we communicate, let's get on a Google document and talk on the phone. You can also post on Canvas discussion board, and some other student will see the question there before I will, and probably be able to give you an answer. I like telephones, and if we can possibly get together on the phone, that can be very useful for synchronous communication. The other thing is we can see each other face to face in person if there is not some kind of quarantine lockdown going on. When I'm in the Inland Empire, I go to my office in the Clock Tower building, top floor, on the CHC campus. I'll also be willing to see my students in Long Beach at my office in the Aqua building. If you are in Chicago, when I am in Chicago, I'd be willing to see you there in the 1550 building on Lakeshore Drive. If you are in Mexico City, while I am in Mexico City, I'd be happy to see you in the Historic Center at Hospital Beistegui. I want to communicate with you and avoid the problems that a lack of communication can bring.